Hey everybody, it's Sporty King and TGIT. Thank God it's today. And of course TGIT, thank God it's. And if you have that flashback with me, if you've heard my broadcast before, you know that I'm one who's against using TGIF because what the Lord does Friday have to someone who took their last breath on Thursday? Or any other day for that matter. So, TGIT, thank God it's today. And then, of course, TGIT, thank God it's tonight because the opportunity to wake up, the blessing to wake up, go through a whole day, through traffic, through uh, car accidents, crazy people shooting people, any kind of disasters, hospital stays, things that people go through and actually don't make it to the night. And sometimes you get to make it to the night. And so then you do need to thank God all day and then thank Him for making it to the night and the opportunity to possibly wake up tomorrow and do it all over. So, how you doing? Look, I'm going to read you one of my poems today and then tell you how to use it because that's the key is my poetry, and I consider it to be prophecy because it's the use of it that makes the difference. And so I'm going to read you a poem that I wrote. And I wrote this poem when I was 16. I wrote it to that person that gets on our nerve. It's called Don't You Realize That You Don't Know Me? And I wrote it to that person that really gets on our nerves at one time or another in our life. I wrote it to my mother. I wrote it to my mother because, you know, mothers, go to PU, Parent University, and, where they learn how to say, I know you, I raised you, I know you, I brought you into this world, and I'll take you out and make another one like you. Well, my mother was constantly telling me she knew me, she knew me, she knew me. And I'm like, no, you don't know me. In fact, I stay here out of the goodness of my heart. I would leave if I had a place to go, food to eat, money to spend, a job. And of course, by the way, these words actually never made it to my lips. These were just thoughts. I would never have said that to my mother. The mother who, the woman who was responsible for not only bringing me into this world, but for raising me and bringing me through so many trials and tribulations and testimonies that she got through me and that I got through her. So no, I would never say, because I always say we didn't have child abuse laws back then. We used to joke with my mother and say, oh God, if they had child abuse laws, you'd be under the jail. But of course, she was not a bad mother. She was wonderful. And it's so funny how, in retrospect, we really understand what our parents go through. Look, take the time. At the time recording of this message, my mother has been dead for 9 years. So, but I had a mother for 52 years. And so I definitely remind you, if your mother's still alive, take that time and spend it with her. And I hope the relationship is good. They're not always good. It's not a guarantee. But I hope your relationship is good with your mother. And if it is good, and your father, with your parents, if the relationship is good or salvageable, spend time with them because it's going to make a difference when they're gone. But anyway, this poem is called, I wrote it to my mother, and I've upgraded the dedication to a lot of people in my life since then. You could probably think of some people who think they know you, right? Your friends, your siblings, your relatives, your teachers, especially if you're in school, the teacher. Everybody thinks they know you. And so I was a rebellious kid, in my teens, and it really pissed me off that everybody thought they knew me. And like I say, I still think that's somewhat true in my adult years, is just to remind people that they don't really know me. In fact, my joke is you don't know how good of a motivational speaker I am because you only see my positive messages rather than see my life. Let that sink in. Okay? But I'm going to read Don't You Realize You Don't Know Me, and then I'm going to tell you how to use it so that you can possibly use it in a class, in a presentation, or somewhere, but more importantly, you can use it in your life. Don't you realize that you don't know? How many times have I heard, I knew you'd do that. It figures you'd say that. Please don't tell me you know me because you only insult my intelligence. Don't you realize you don't know me? Have I so shallow a mind that you can pick me apart at will? Are my actions really predictable while looking through your drinking glass crystal ball? Is my voice really always monotone? Don't you realize you don't know me? Don't you realize that you only know what I let you know? And don't you realize that I can never let you know me, even if I wanted to, because I don't really know myself? Don't you realize you don't know me? Don't you know that what you knew I do, I didn't know I do, even after I did what I did like you knew I'd do it? And don't you know that what you figured I'd say, I didn't figure I'd say, even after I said what I said like you figured I'd say it? Don't you realize you don't know me? Don't you realize that you don't know me? And in slow motion, don't you know? No. Don't you know that what you knew I'd do, I didn't know I'd do? Even after I did what I did like you knew I'd do it. And isn't that how it happens sometimes? It happens so fast. I knew you were going to knock that glass over. You're a jinx. Well, why didn't you move the glass? I didn't know. And don't you know that what you figured I'd say, I didn't figure I'd say. Even after I said what I said, like you figured I'd say it. Have you ever been in that position before? Where you said something, the words came out so fast you couldn't catch it? Hey, Sporty, go clean up your room. I'm not cleaning up nothing. Just kidding, Mom. Right, we've all said something that we wish we could have grabbed the words back, like in the cartoons, where we say something, we can grab the words back and put them back in our mouth, but we can't. And that's why it's so important to realize that what the crux of that poem is saying is it's not that important whether or not someone else knows you. The key is, do you know yourself? Because it's so important that you recognize and know that the words that come out of your mouth are representative of who you really are. See, control your vocabulary. Don't let your vocabulary control you. And that's always going to be one of my top messages. So we have to know who we are so that what we say is representative of who we are, because your words cannot be taken back. And so if you've got ill feelings about someone, it's going to come out. I've never accepted that excuse of somebody, that BS, that basic stuff, or where somebody says, well, they were drinking and so that made them say something. My mother used to say a drunk man lays down and goes to sleep. So if alcohol is your catalyst to making you be honest and truthful, it's about something that you believed already. And I've never allowed anybody to use drugs as their alibi either. I was high, I didn't know what I was doing. Well, then don't get high. You've got to be really conscious of the excuses that you enable people to use to let them stay in your life. Everybody doesn't deserve to be in your first 5 rows. And so you have to make sure that you know what your first 5 rows look like so that you can know what the people in those rows should look like and what the application process is and the qualifications for them to stay there. You have to know yourself. Get to know who you are. We hear it so many times, it's become a cliche, and then sometimes people try to make us feel like we're being selfish when we get to, when we're focusing on ourselves. But I'm saying, don't worry about being selfish. Be selfish. Put yourself first. You gotta look out for you. Think about it. Even on an airplane, and they've changed the message now. But before they take off, they say something to the effect with the way they used to say it. If we lose cabin pressure, oxygen masks will drop down. If you're traveling with small children, put yours on first. Right? Yep. 2 kids, figure out which one you like best. Okay? But look, no, seriously, the message is always there. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself first. Get to know who you are. Once you know who you are, you have an opportunity to share that package with so many other people in your life and enrich their lives. So that's how you can use that poem. It's great. Teenagers love it. Again, I wrote it as a teenager. So teenagers love it because they'll sit there and they're feeling that because they're like, oh yeah, that's right, yeah, because this is where adults, we start telling them, I was your age and I tried them same tricks, and you come on, you know that's the buck doesn't stop. Every generation ends up telling the next generation that. But that teenage years are where we start to feel ourselves and understand and trying to find ourselves and where we're going. And we don't want anybody to feel that they know us. So it's a great poem to use with teenagers especially. It's great. It's a great poem to use with grown-ups. In fact, you can use it to start out a little, almost like an icebreaker for a small meeting where everybody says, okay, well, now that we've heard that poem, let's talk about some things that maybe other people don't know about us. What would you like to share to help people know more about you? And because that's always something, we do want people to know a little bit more about us, because that can take away some of that anxiety or the stress. Because don't you get upset? We say, yeah, they don't know who I am. I don't know why they did that. Well, they don't know who you are. They don't know what you don't. They don't know why you did that because you haven't told them. Tell yourself. Get to know yourself. Find a way to share it. Let me get one more way of sharing it. Um, it becomes a great poem for closing as well, because it can really help you, scoop up everything that's happened in the meeting, and recognize that with all that's happened, there's still something that you don't know. There's still something that you don't know. There's still a reason for you to continue to come back and get educated and re-educated. We learn through repetition. Keep listening to things over and over. Keep getting to know yourself better. Because every day you wake up, you're a new person. If you wake up the same person you were when you went to bed, perhaps you never went to sleep. So you can get to know yourself better as a means toward helping other people get to know you better. Figure out how to use it. Meanwhile, I hope you subscribe to my website. Well, I hope you subscribe to this channel. But I'm going to click on and let you see what my website looks like, and I hope you decide to subscribe to follow my monthly fun letter. See up there where it says testimonies and topics? The next link over is going to say fun letter. So if you go to my site, sportyking.com, you can click on there, you can read it, and you can download it. I've got some other downloadable things on my site, so you can have a good time. A lot of good tips for you. Poetry in my semi-blog section. Look, it's all about helping people, and because I know myself, I'm happy to help you know yourself. Thanks again for subscribing. Oh, did you subscribe? Please do. You see that button down there on your left? Click it and get on in. Over and out. Ciao.